Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Hawaii Language Roadmap Student Resource Interviews. Before I introduce our special guest speaker, I'd like to take a moment to congratulate you all on receiving your seal by literacy. This is a huge accomplishment, and we're especially proud of you, and we hope these interviews are going to be helpful for you on your next steps navigating your paths. Now I'd like to introduce Leon Koo. He recently graduated from UH Manoa with a double major in computer science and Chinese. He has been studying Chinese for about 4 years, joining the UH Chinese Flagship program in his junior year, and in a 2-year span has had opportunities to study in Taiwan and Beijing. He just completed his capstone year in Nanjing, China, and interned at an education startup in Shenzhen last year. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Great. So this can be an informal conversation, really just kind of hear more about your opportunities and hear about what opportunities there are at UH. So let's jump right in. So for students who are unfamiliar with the Chinese language flagship program, can you give us a little background about it?
Yeah, so the Chinese Flagship is basically a federally funded program. And so all throughout the United States, there's only a few universities that have this flagship program. And University of Hawaii is one of the lucky universities that have it. And so the Chinese Flagship program is basically a program where students that want to take a deep dive into learning the language of their choice, whether it's Chinese or Korean. I believe there's also Spanish and Russian flagship. And then these flagships are for students that want to have more of a professional learning level for their language skills.
Awesome. Very cool. And then can I ask you kind of what was your motivation for pursuing the Chinese language flagship program?
For me personally, I wanted to learn more about my heritage and culture, and so I originally started joining different events and stuff that were related to flagship just to learn more about it. At first, when I first started in university, I only casually was taking language classes. But then in my junior year, I decided that I wanted to just have my language levels at a higher level. And so that's when I decided to join flagship.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. From your experience, what careers and jobs do you think students in the Chinese flagship program work towards?
Oh, in my experience, so in our cohort, we have students from all different types of majors. For flagship, one of the key things about it is that we're able to combine whatever major that we are interested in and have it be like a double major type of program with the flagship. And so for me, I'm computer science and Chinese, and a lot of my classmates could be like business majors or sociology, biology, those kind of majors too. And so a lot of students like to just focus on their own specific major while improving their language skills and building up their professional level of language in their specific major as well, learning key terms that you might need in like your computer science related classes, or such as like if you were to go into the workforce in your specific major, you can also utilize your language skills there.
That's great that you have the opportunity to kind of specialize in your own major and you're not limited and you can come out with this program with a double major potentially. So for you, in terms of studying computer science, do you see opportunities or jobs available to use kind of both your Chinese skills and your computer science skills?
Yeah. So in the workforce, since we're becoming so much more globalized now, there's a lot of opportunities now that will seek for computer science or whatever major that you may be interested in, and also your language skills. I think one of the key things to point out is that while you're looking for a job opportunity, that you try to leverage your language skills while also being proficient in your major skills.
Absolutely. Do you have any advice maybe for students listening of how to leverage their language skills when applying for jobs or applying for internships?
I think one of the things that uh, should that I should point out is that a lot of companies, they might see that you're proficient in the language, but then they're also looking for other skills as well, right? So it's not only about language, but really about how you use the language. So if you were, let's say you wanted to go into a business consulting firm and you wanted to leverage your language skills there, you would first say that you have a more globalized perspective on things, being able to talk with clients of not only in America and also, but also in the country that you learned your language in, and also just bring a more diverse perspective because for a lot of students in our flagship, we are able to go to like China, Taiwan, and just experience all these different work cultures and things. Like for me personally, I went to Nanjing to study for my capstone year last year, and then I went to Shenzhen for the internship. And so from there, I learned a lot of the different like work cultures and how to communicate in different language. And so that really brings a lot of value to a company that might be looking to do international businesses here in the US.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool component of this program where you're able to have an internship using your language as well as combining it with your academic specialization. So I think that's a really unique opportunity. And from your bio and from what you're talking about, it sounds like you've had a lot of great study abroad experiences. And would you say that came from the flagship program, or what are maybe some opportunities that the flagship program opened for you?
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think the flagship program really gives you a lot of opportunities to study abroad. And although universities may have a study abroad office that gives students the opportunities to study in all these different countries, the flagship lets you join these more specialized programs where they'll teach you more at such as faster pace. And so it'll help you really advance your language skills maybe from like one one summer would really take you like probably a that would probably take you a year in or 2 semesters in school.
Very cool. And do you have plans for your kind of next steps? I know you're a recent graduate and it may be a weird time in the world, but I was just curious, do you have kind of ambitions of using your Chinese language skills?
Yeah, so I right now I feel like um, a lot of alumni might be in some kind of a weird situation where they might not be or they might be stuck at home or they might not be using your language skills as much. I feel like a lot of people might fall into a trap of just being comfortable again in their home in the US and not being able to utilize their language skills. So one of the things I've been doing is just slowly practicing my language skills again, finding resources online or maybe like reading a book that could just keep up my Chinese skills that I learned over the past year. Um, yeah, and what one thing I recommend is probably like even though oh after going to a study abroad and coming back for a while and then going to find job opportunities, you might find that you could have forgot some
Mhm.
things that that you learned while in China or whatever, and so you can kind of say that uh, while you're interviewing, you can say that although my language skills could have decreased a little bit, I'm still working towards continuing and practicing, and then just showing employers that you're still practicing all the skills while you have this downtime.
I think that's a great piece of advice, especially as many of these graduates are just finishing high school, who are coming from language classes and now having the summer and potentially the fall where they're not in a language class for the first time, and realizing like it is a muscle where we do need to continue to exercise it and practice it to keep up with that skill. So thank you for saying that. Um, what do you think, or excuse me, why do you think having a multilingual workforce is important for Hawaii?
Yeah, I think having a multilingual workforce is especially important for Hawaii just because of how diverse we are. We're like the melting pot state. So we have a lot of different people from all over the world come here, and I think that really makes it gives students the opportunity to utilize their language skills in the workforce here, since a lot of companies might be looking for Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, all those kind of languages in order to work with clients of from different countries and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And then kind of just in terms of last words, is there any kind of advice or words of wisdom that you would like to share with kind of the graduates of the SEAL Biliteracy?
Yeah, I say that although we're stuck in a weird time right now, there you can always find resources to continue learning, practicing, and just keeping up. Even if language learning might be a hobby, you might find that down the road that you become really interested in the culture, the heritage, or the language, and just the inner workings of it, and just make it more into a opportunity for you. Because for me, I started out just casually learning Chinese, but then it turned out to be a lot more than that for me, and I got to just go on all these awesome opportunities to different countries and just make it more a part of my daily life.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's powerful words, and knowing that like sometimes we don't have it learning a language as part of our academic or professional plan, and it's just a hobby or something important to us for family reasons. And then the door opens and realizing, no, this we can make a greater commitment, and we see different avenues of using it down the line and in the workplace. So thank you for sharing that, and best of luck in your next steps and sharing about the Chinese language flagship program and your experiences a part of it. So thanks again.
Thank you.